Okay, we're live. I just wrote a little welcome message to everyone and on YouTube. So
Bonjour tout. Bam, 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 ba-da-da, ba-da-da-da. Oh boy. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I love you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing better than last week, as we just discussed a few
Mm,
minutes ago. I,
mm,
I just
Being,
yeah,
yeah.
I just said to all the listeners that I wrote a little welcome message for you. If you decide to write any questions, be it now or be it afterwards, when you watch it later on, feel free to do so, because me and Guy, we check to, we tend to check the messages even later on, even months after the conversation has happened. So for the personal questions and inquiries, contact us privately. But if you feel that that's a question you want to ask publicly, why not? Be it like encouragement or personal experience or anything really. Yes, it's welcomed in this space. And yes, how are you, Guy? How you been doing since our last
Hi,
speak?
thank you. I've been quite busy. I've had a few shows. I finally went on stage with my ukulele as Mr. Happiness. So this is a next step in my life of bringing happiness to the new world. I've got a new flag. There you go.
Happy
My
flag?
my happiness flag. And you, there you go. Ball. I've got some.
You're happy, but
This may be going overboard, but hey, I mean, life is such a beautiful gift. It's just amazing. So you just have to
oh,
uh,
it
uh,
appeared again.
uh, it appeared again. Oh, it's on my other finger now. It's just
I
happiness. Happiness is like that, it's like sometimes life like you're having a hard day, a hard week, a hard moment, and then suddenly out of the blue, a video comes on, Guy and Zane. This is Guy and this is Zane. Hi, how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing well, thank you. We're here to bring you ideas and solutions and I don't know, thoughts about joy and happiness. So
and
there's
play. This time is play. Play is the main topic this time.
yeah, this time
Yeah.
today it's play. So um I've brought some of my tools, you could say. Uh,
What's his name?
uh, Jacko,
Jacko. Okay.
Jacko, or Jackie. I forget if it's okay. Sorry. She's susceptible. It's Jackie. It's
Jackie. Okay.
yeah. So and she went with me in my first trip to Guatemala. Did you like
Mhm.
Guatemala? Yeah, and she met a young girl, your belly, and her story is in my book and in an orphanage. So, okay, so you're gonna rest for now? Yeah, later. So
She's very talkative, yeah.
she's very talkative, and that was the point of having her around because I didn't speak Spanish in my first trip when I went to Guatemala. So she was my little helper to connect with the other people, with the kids there. So
Mm.
a big week and talking about play. And what comes to mind to you when you heard the word play?
It's a tough one because I was ready to talk about this topic the month that we set it up, like about a month ago.
Okay.
And I thought to myself, what a great topic. But then as month progressed, I sensed that there's not much play in my life really. It's just it appears on and off. And I wouldn't say that I'm the most playful person. I wish I would. I wish I would because I see the benefits in many people around me. But since last week, and that's one of the reasons our conversation didn't happen last week because I had to postpone it uh, for good few reasons. um, yeah, that's one of the reasons because I couldn't figure out how to approach the situation in a playful manner, and I made it even worse. I made it, you know, when your body stiffens up, and
Mm-hmm.
um, it's because of like we could make it like physical, even physical, when a fluid kind of stops you and it stops being fluid, it becomes something that uh, not hard substance yet, but pretty much close to that. And
Mm-hmm.
then you're unable to function. And that's how
Yeah.
it felt last week. And to be honest, uh, I feel that this topic is even more needed because of that experience. Because I feel like if I would look at the situation uh, in a bit more, not in a playful manner, but in a bit more playful manner, with a bit more sense of humor, with a bit more flexibility, I would come out of the situation much sooner and I would figure out the solutions in a calmer manner, probably. I would have fun for a bit, but then I would figure out the solution. And I think I've come to solutions, but just in a less flexible way with more fighting. So could you probably give uh, listeners your example? What's the first
Uh,
thing that comes to your mind when you think about play? I could think of some of the examples, but like surprises.
uh, I love what you say because it's something many of us feel that when we get into a situation and we know, like for example, that either doing meditation or doing exercises or uh, trying to be playful would be good for us, but somehow we cannot disconnect. And um, we try to bring both worlds together. But I don't think it's more the idea of taking a break. It's saying that yes, I'm having these let's use this. I'm having these mind things, these are just words and words and it's full of words in my head. And it's like all these things that keep me busy and so the idea is for me, it's not so much of putting play in between the pages, but it's actually okay, let's trust. Okay, the two words that are very important, it's trust and faith. And faith is
Mm.
not religious faith. And
Yeah.
trust that I can put this aside for half an hour. I can put this aside for an hour, for for a day, depending, it's like it's my it's time to do the taxes in Canada, and I'm late, and so I'm putting it off. Not such a good idea, but it's still, taxes, something happening once a year. I can put it off a few days, a few weeks until I feel okay. Now I'm relaxed. I've re-energized. I found new spirit, new energy. But sometimes, we were talking about kids the other day, our kids, or even people in the street that we're in a situation where we have to deal with something right away. Then it's not time to play. Uh, Turning a situation into a joke. Uh, no, that's not it. But it's the idea of breathing, taking a pause,
Mhm.
and in that pause, then say, what's the best possible thing we can do at this moment? Okay. So at this moment, if you need to say, okay, time out. I think that that's a wonderful thing, I cannot deal with this right now. Um, Often we don't use a time frame. It's like this event, this happening is too much, and we just keep reacting. But to actually say, okay, let's put this in brackets. Let's just say, let's just take a break. And then we can go into games, and then we can go into playing. Um,
Can I add some fire to this?
yes, please, please, please. I was trying to think of a actual example in my life.
I
Nothing
have an
has.
example. I think you could put it through your life, but I have an example. You know what makes it tougher? When it happens to your family member, like with or to your family member, you're involved, and then you like if something would happen and you got upset with me, or I would get upset with you, I think it's much more solvable than with a family member. You could add a comment on that, like how that works between people we know really, really well or people who know us really, really well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I agree with you. It's funny because not funny, but coincidental. You went through some issues, family, and I went through some issues with my family. My wonderful daughter, 19-year-old, affirming herself and stuff like that. So, and we had basically a clash. Happens. We had a clash. Um, at that moment, I just, it's not so much that I froze, I just kind of, I can't handle this right now. I don't know how much time I'll need to handle it,
Mm,
but I know that I cannot react in a positive way at this moment in time. So my choice, and it's okay, words again, trust, faith, and choice.
mm,
Um, One of the um, um, image or concept that people will hide behind, not hide behind, but will resort to is to say, I had no choice. And I know this is a hard one to say, but we always have a choice.
but
The,
like, could we add I know you had experience with people who have some mental issues as well. Can we
yeah,
add that? Because that gives us a bit of kind of benefit of a doubt. Like, can we really know what they're dealing with? You know, but you could add it if you wish. I just put it out there
no,
because
thank you,
there's
thank you.
many people who are dealing with such issues
Okay. Hmm.
because
What
they might not have a choice really. They might, I'm not saying they don't, but they might not.
it's yeah, again, it's how could I say? When I talk about faith, practice, faith, trust, and choice. It's always the concept of, I like this image of of pointing towards the moon. The idea is not to reach the moon, is that you're practicing going towards there. So again, the idea of choice is that if you have awareness, then you say, I know choice exists. Why am I not practicing it now?
Mm.
You know, it's the idea that it's not an all or nothing situation. When you get into an all or nothing situation, then I agree. You're going to say, I have a choice or I have no choice.
Mm.
What I'm talking about is that practicing the awareness of choice. And when you say you have no choice now, it's like, okay, it's because there's something you can't handle. So instead of looking at the choice, you should be looking at what you cannot be handling. It's like your feelings. It's like, what am I feeling now? What am I not listening to?
Mm.
It's a question of awareness. It's uh, I love getting into this conundrums, this idea that it's black or white. And you started this beautiful conversation with the idea of flow. Okay. When do we lose flow? We lose flow when we come in a situation where there's no choice. What do you think?
I think that there's a place where character comes into some type of position in these situations, and character plays itself out, and
Yeah.
you could see what has been practiced and what hasn't.
And character is, again, these are all key words. It's so much. That's why I like to, I talk about the five state of beings, the head, the heart, the body, the spirit, which is the character, and the universe. And I like to separate them as a thought process, like Einstein would say, a thought experiment.
Mm.
So when we talk about character, then we talk about intention, you know. Uh, I don't know if it's Einstein who said this or somebody else said, is that basically there's one question. Do you think the universe is good or bad?
Mm.
And from that one intuition, then you get into the idea of, if you think the universe is bad or a dangerous place, then you will need to protect yourself, and then you're not in the flow anymore. You're about boundaries, you're about concepts, you're about protecting yourself. So
I just saw it just before this conversation. I saw a beautiful 1.5 minute um, animation. There are two trees. One is fruitful and one is fruitless, and the same happens with roots. And there are, different types of names for characteristics of such people underneath on the roots. They're written on the roots. And then there are two options for the fruitful one: to keep reaching out and giving away the fruits, or just staying in their position. And then staying would mean not expressing themselves, but it would also mean setting up the boundaries. And this is a question for you as well now, because if the fruitful one sets up the boundaries and limits itself, limits the flow, then it keeps the fruit, but it starts dying off as well. So what are the options here? When you're fruitful, to set the boundary, because I never thought about this option, because I thought, the healthy way is to set up the boundary. There's a saying, you draw beautiful boundaries and all that stuff. But I never thought from that position that the fruitless, it actually doesn't disqualify us in any way. Being like, we could be, if you feel like fruitful, just keep carrying the fruit. And you don't have to set the boundary, because it just, the fruit will reappear. And if you lose them once a year, they will keep coming back. But if you set up the boundary, you kind of limit yourself from outside with the border. What do you think about it?
Well, I think since the start of our conversation today, we're still looking to what is the heart of this discussion.
Exactly.
So for our listeners out there, I think this is a good example of the process of revealing ourselves. Okay, so bear with us. You know, um, feel the confusion, feel the struggle, because this is also part of life, but there's a jewel inside it. There's a diamond inside. We just haven't found it yet. So we're throwing ideas, we're throwing concepts, and uh, I'm bringing some levity in here as I'm trying to sense what are we talking about this morning. Okay, so flow and boundaries.
Yeah, which would be part of being able to play. Because if you set up the boundary and stop the flow, you somehow lose the ability to play as well and experiment, if that's part of an experiment.
If I remember, like number 4, the attitude is experiencing life, is feeling joy.
Yeah.
And play is number 5, is the universe. And to play, you cannot control the outcome.
Which is terrible for many people.
There we go. Okay, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere, which is terrible. Why?
Because you have to control the outcome. Otherwise, you're not productive or productive enough.
Okay, that's beautiful. That in improv, this is what we would call scene painting. You've just established the whole base of this conversation. That if you don't have control, you will not have results. Okay. So this is a big discussion here happening here. I we could have a show of hands here about how many people practice, and let's use that word, practice this concept that control, you need control to have outcome. If not, it's not productive. So control, outcome, productive.
I think we can see it all around us. School, for example, every workplace, it's about measuring and being productive. Yeah. And
This is
then
the productive sound. This is the shaman who's doing the magic of
And
You must be productive.
it's frightening.
It is. It is. It's much better than.
Mm.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, we're getting somewhere. So, how I became Mr. Happiness.
Getting productive or moving away from being productive.
Hmm. Jackie, no, that's not good for Jackie. So, basically, I accepted that society or me function on the model of practicing control,
Mm.
of practicing results, of practicing being productive. Then I ask myself, am I happy? Simple question. And all we have actually is the moment. And I'm not being philosophical or mystical, or we were talking about the past before. We were talking about heritage, the
Generations and heritage and all that, yeah.
generation and heritage. You did mention that. And one aspect, one image that came into my mind was rail tracks, with the train. So you and me now, we're meeting right, you imagine the tracks, and you're standing in the middle of the track. If you look behind you, you've got the perspective, you've got the rails going on and on and on and on. And that's the heritage. It is there. I agree with you. If you keep your heritage, if you practice, let's use the word practice. I think that's a beautiful word, practice. If you
Mm.
practice the heritage, actually you can see that's the behind, then the rail goes forward. You're in the middle of the past and the future. That's where you live. So the past is going to draw what the future is going to look like. Some philosophers say that the reverse is the future draws the past. It basically means that whatever you practice is what you get. It's that simple. So if you change practice, if you change attitude, you're going to get other results. Tracks are boundaries. Okay. So the only thing you have control over is where you are in the moment. You don't have control of the past in the same way you don't have control of the future. Choice is about saying, I'm going to lift myself from these railings and I'm going to put myself in another practice. I'm going to give you a good track, not a a great example. I've been a good boy all my life. The good boy is about being productive. whatever I do must be positive, must be this, that, whatever, uh, so that I feel um good enough. So I feel loved. So I feel accepted, and so on and so on. So my life as a good boy was guided by the idea of needing to be loved, needing to be um, accepted, needing to have value, and all these things. Now, the only reason this could work, this practice works, is if I didn't love myself.
Mm.
Therefore, I needed outside elements to confirm that I exist, that I am worthy. You know, being a good boy is for the rewards of it. So, are you trying to be a good girl, Zane?
It terrifies me. This all
Thank you.
terrifies me. Yeah,
Thank you. Let's stay there because
yeah.
you know these are heavy, but I just and I terrified, and that's such a strong word. It's not I'm scared. It's not I'm concerned. It's not I worry. So
It's almost a
in
doom kind of feeling a doom in it because I see how addicted I am and my surroundings, how connected they are to many obstacles and some of the events, how they've been designed to make me addicted to some particular events and traditions and people. And this is like I only recently started to open my eyes to many of the topics and um, like one of the examples would be breastfeeding, like breastfeeding a child and then how far it goes because the child is so attached, like he or she becomes one with the mother at the time. But then again, there is a place for detachment and how it happens and all that. It terrifies, it blows my mind thinking about like how addicted we could become or how addicted we are to other people and their expectations and how easily we are molded and managed with you know conditions and conditioning and we all know that fear is one of the strongest and impactful emotions that we could feel. It impacts our health and impacts our relationships and all that. And it just I would rather stay in the present moment, but it just I cannot help but go back because and that's the part what terrifies me because I would rather stay here. But just when you give the example after example, it just connects me to my experiences and I'm not like I've had a pretty good life. It's not that, I suffered tremendously. It just I connect them to many events that happen nowadays, and I see myself reacting out of. That's why I used the word character before. I react uh, because my character is built in such a way as it is, and being a good girl in Latvia, it definitely is a good sign. Being a good girl, that's all you strive for. in most cases, and some women never stop being good girls, and that also terrifies me because you cannot be a like I could go as far as you cannot be a truthful friend if you're a good boy or good girl because you're not allowed to speak your truth, and that also terrifies me because I would I would rather hear terrible truth than not to hear it at all. And I hope this illustrates my my frustration and horror
Yeah.
about this. Yeah.
No, it's I respect everything you just say, and I relate to everything you just say. Um, there's different ways to approach this, to talk about this. What I can say at this point, being a Zoom talk and
Yeah.
sharing with our friends there on the net and everything like that, is that everything you're sharing makes sense. Uh, it's not necessarily comforting, or it's not my idea to comfort you, but what you're sharing is very normal. I could even say, I wouldn't be insulting, but it's boringly normal. But I don't say the word boring in the sense of you're boring me, but I'm saying that it's so common that you might think it's something unique or a struggle that no one could understand or few could understand or not many people go through. But what you're sharing is a fundamental existential angst. The fact that we are alive, that we are here, it's a mystery. We don't know why. And according to our stories, you talk about Latvia, I could talk about Quebec. Uh, I was abused as a child. You had other struggles with your family as a child growing up with politics. So we all have our story. But this feeling that we are here, we exist, and why do we exist? What is life? We have to give a meaning. We have to give an answer. It's very hard to live on the uncertainty. That's when the word trust and faith comes in. Trust is about uncertainty, and faith is even more about uncertainty. So you're terrified, which is great because you're in contact with what's happening in you. So I congratulate you with that. That's awesome. I really congratulate you with that. But each of us are terrified. Let's put it this way. And each of us will use whatever information we've got from our environment, from our upbringing, to create a story, to make sense of it. So you make sense. You've with all the information you've acquired so far in your life, you're painting a scene, you're creating the story of why you are terrified. But that's just a story. Like my book is just a story. It's not important. And I say, oh, Guy, how dare you? And that's get down to choice and practice. You know, uh, when I was young or a teenager, I always wished I was amnesic. I don't know if that's English. Amnesic,
That you lose your memory.
Yeah.
Mm.
Uh, my My favorite pet animal was a chameleon. Uh, put these two together, I had the unconscious, unaware desire to escape my life. By becoming a chameleon, you disappear. By becoming amnesic, you disappear. But basically, what does that mean is that I disappear from my boundaries. I disappear from my railings, from the
Mm.
train railing. You know, I wanted to escape. I had no possibility of escape. So why the solution, the um, how I became Mr. Happiness, how I escaped is by discovering choice, discovering faith, discovering trust. How did I do that? Okay, this might be that's my how I did it. But basically, in a nutshell, to get back into the flow is to practice. I'm gonna love that word. Practice listening to what is happening now in the present moment. When you do that, you get off the rail. Oh, was it with you that we did this thing, stop the train? Was it with you? I was talking to you about that, about
Oh,
so
which stopping the train, yeah,
and stepping off,
or
you
stepping
know.
off, yeah,
Yeah, it's like you're in a train and it goes fast and it's
yeah.
like pull the lever. It's like emergency brake. I need to step out. And that's when playing. Concrete example. Okay. How I became a clown. It's kind of a funny story. It's a clown. It's a funny story. Sorry, that's not funny.
That's
Anyway,
completely acceptable.
I okay. Um, I got a new boss at work. Okay, work. We were talking about work. Work, results, responsibilities. I got a new boss. The boss uh, was hired by the higher boss to get rid of all the old people, but not
Mm,
old by age, but old by people who got ancienneté. I'm sorry how to don't know how to say that. Privileges from
yeah,
working a long. How do you say that in English?
benefits.
Benefits.
Yeah.
They okay. The big boss hired my boss, and my boss' job was to get rid of everyone with benefits and to cut the salaries by half.
Mm.
I it took me years to figure that out, you know.
Oh,
He's not gonna come and say, "Oh, hi guys, I'm gonna fire you," and of course he's not gonna say it like that. you know. So we had lots of nice meetings, and he called me in his office and he said, "Oh, Guy, you really look tired, you know. I think we're gonna put you in the office now, as opposed to working with the kids. Oh, it's too much work for you, and blah blah blah." And you're gonna keep the same salary. That's fine. It's just that it's not on the same scale. It's not double time. It's half. It's regular salary and blah blah blah. But you're gonna get this. And I was gonna die if I was not working with people. I love working with people. I am to be with people. I cannot
mm.
do paper. I'm not doing my taxes. There you go. What more can you do? But anyway, so and then at the same time my father died. And my father was a doctor, and his whole life he did what he loved. He just followed his passion, and he was a doctor. So I asked myself, why am I staying at this job that I'm being pushed out of, and I'm not following my flow, my real life, my intuition. So I quit. I quit the job. And I said, I'm going to become a public speaker. And I started to do my stuff. But I started to get insomnia and terrifying life existential crisis. I couldn't sleep. I was white as a sheet. I got depressed. I just couldn't function anymore. And then I discovered laughter yoga. And laughter yoga changed my life. So a very big circle there we did for about how to add play in your life. So basically, I was at the worst time in my life, being suicidal, out of work, and you know, no purpose, no meaning, couldn't sleep. And then I say, I must do something. And I said, I heard about people getting together to do laughter yoga. And I joined, and it was a revelation. So in a moment of pure stress, when I couldn't function anymore, I went and played. I took a risk. And it's been a very gradual process of getting more play in my life. And then I wrote to Patch Adams. And then I went to Guatemala with Jacko. It's Jacko. That's her name. And I lived the moment, something I never did before. Thank you. And then eventually Tocino joined. And then the lockdown, the World Health Organization, the government, bad juju came again. And I couldn't travel anymore. I couldn't play anymore. Let's repeat that word. I couldn't play anymore. So I started running. I started jogging. I needed some physical. So maybe if you cannot play, take a pause and do something just physical. But it's cut off this, this thing, concern, worries. It's like, sorry, kids, sorry, husband, sorry, society, sorry, boss. I will now be taking half an hour for myself. I will now be taking an hour for myself. And this, we get into trust and faith. And it's a practice. It's a practice to say, am I going to dare take time off for myself? Going to Guatemala, my wife didn't want me to go to Guatemala. I was scared. I didn't speak Spanish. I wasn't a clown before, and I was scared of the airplanes. So my story, my rails, were telling me, don't do it. So basically, everything in my life was telling me, don't do it. But inside me, was the pulsion to do it. So I made a choice. There you go. That's the word. I made a choice. I made a choice. Sorry, my wife. Sorry, my child. Sorry, my job. Sorry, this. Sorry, the good boy. I made a choice. So, and since then, my life has changed. So just to finish, because this has been quite a soliloquy here.
Yeah.
And we're running out of time. But just to finish, and then the lockdown came.
Yeah, I thought you would forget it.
The lockdown came. And that's like 2, 3 years ago, 1 year ago, and I felt suicidal again. The same as because I thought I had my life under control, but I didn't know I was still controlling my life. I had a plan, my plan of my book is published and I'm going to go on a worldwide tour of speaking and blah, blah, blah. Control results. What was the thing? Control results, whatever you were saying. All this went down the drain. So at one point, I decided, okay, Juju, you are there. I won't deny you anymore. I know what you want. I think I know how you function. Fine. Okay.
I think he's saying it's all about the choice.
I choose. I
Right. You chose.
choose happiness. I choose. I choose. I choose. I choose. Okay. Black and white, people with mental issues, people with this and that. Yeah, that's particular. But
Mm,
95, even if it's 90% of the population, can choose. And if 90% of the people would choose happiness, imagine the world, how it would be today. And imagine, so I'll repeat this again. Imagine if 90% of the world would choose happiness.
mm,
Imagine how much love and care we could give to the 5% or the 10% of the people who cannot choose. That's my thing, you know.
mm,
It's like in the airplane, they say, uh, if the mask falls down, you know, first put it on yourself and then put it on the people who cannot put it on themselves. So, that's it. The rabbit is not out of, oh, thank you. He's been there for so long. Out of the hat, It's basically this. It's basically choose. Choose for and then you can help all the people who cannot choose.
mm. This is
But
deep. This is
it's
really, really important. Yeah. Because so many people, as you said, they don't take the stance to choose. They don't take the stance to have a voice, actually. Forget the
even
choosing.
even I'll sorry to interrupt you, to listen to themselves.
Yeah.
You cannot have a voice. I didn't have a voice. I was a good boy. I didn't have a voice because I didn't know the practice of listening to myself. So, and it really, I'm sorry if I interrupted you, but
No.
it's really it really starts with that. We
Mm,
are incarnated. Each one of us is separated. That's it. But each one of us has this gift inside. Nobody's going to take care of your gift. Nobody has access to your gift. You're the only one who can know what's there. So to have a voice, I totally agree with you. First, you need to listen to what's in here.
mm.
And that's a choice. People don't know they have a choice. And it's sad. Um, the story you're going to tell is going to explain why you don't have a choice.
But that's
So you're
excuse, is it?
it it it's an excuse, but I agree, but it's not an excuse. It's a story. Like words, like words are symbols and we're stuck with them and they're so imperfect. So word for me is like salt or pepper in a meal. Basically, you can have the most beautiful bœuf bourguignon or whatnot, and you just put the wrong spice, and it so excuse for me is pejorative, is
Mm,
judgmental. So that's why I say it's a story,
yeah.
and the way our brain, number one, works, the function of our brain is to make sense, is to create a story. So never, never, never argue with anyone about their story because they are always right. What we can discuss is what choice, because a choice happens in the present moment.
Mm,
The only place where a choice lives is in the moment. So people who says I have no choice basically just said I am not living in the present. It all kind of makes sense. People who have no choice live in the past or
mm,
they live in the future. I have no choice. I have to go to work because I need money for my result I want, for my this and that. I need a house, I need a car, I need this status symbol. So I have no choice. Yeah, you're not living in the present moment. The only way to know what's in here is in the present moment. Taking time out, time out. It's, pulling, stopping, um, terrified.
mm,
You're terrified of your story, and it makes sense. You're terrified of your story because as long as you're terrified of your story, you're not going inside to see what's here. Um, our
yeah.
body, our body loves ourselves. Our body wants to protect ourselves. So when we're terrified, it keeps us busy. I know it sounds strange, but when you're terrified, you're busy from seeing your truth, your real truth.
Mm. It does make sense because in order to be terrified, you have to keep telling the story. You have to verify the story, and you have to find new details and manage the story. But if you stop making up new chapters, then you will most definitely have to observe and be present. So yeah, it makes perfect sense what you just said.
I forgot to turn off the background noise thingy again. Damn.
You know what this means? Next
It means,
conversation.
well, I'm actually recording the recording
Yeah.
audio. So
Yeah.
I'll put my audio on top of this. So it means that when I do this, you're not hearing anything.
We hear something. We don't
I
hear
know.
the audio. But if you send me audio, I can put it on the bottom of recording. If you send just the audio to me afterwards, we can try to fix it. But the next conversation, if you agree, would be about mistakes.
Yes, yes, yes. And today was about playfulness, and
Yeah,
and we totally got into another territory. So
correct.
uh
Or you could find out
I'm
that I'm
open,
bored.
I'm open to whatever happens. So
Yeah,
we can put it as a theme, and if we go there, that's fine.
yeah.
Um But so maybe we can rename this video playful but terrified. I don't know. Or choices. Choice the
Choices.
choices. There you go. Yeah. Um, I mean,
Yeah,
but what I appreciate with our talk is that we go to what matters.
there's no other
So
way. There's no other way. If you care, because I care and you care, so it makes sense. But I think we both are eager to observe and learn as well, always. So that makes a nice bouquet. So with that said, I'll say thank you for this conversation. I look forward for the next one. And now I'll have to go and make some perfect meal for for the little ones.
I
We
totally
will
get it.
be present.
It's
Yes.
my pleasure. Sending you love
And see
and
you
hug.
next time.
With pleasure. Bye
Bye.
bye.